Hello again. This is Jim Lowenstern, and I am the host of the eXponential Files. I have a very special guest this week, Carrie Zeier, who's with eXp Luxury and now eXp Sports and Entertainment. We'll cover everything. So just sit back and enjoy. This is going to be awesome. So, Carrie, welcome to the show. Glad you agreed to come on.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and, just part of eXp Realty. And of course, I'm on the luxury side, and just so many great things are happening. And, Jim, I want to thank you for all of your support. And you're really, a trailblazer when it comes to this industry yourself. So thank you for having me on.
Well, thanks, Carrie. So let's just go back, way back. You grew up in Atlanta. Uh, I guess your family had markets, so sort of like a
Actually, it was South Georgia. I know I went to school in University of Georgia, so a lot of the times everyone says Atlanta, but if you know the state of Georgia, there is a South Georgia and a North Georgia. And so I grew up in South Georgia. My parents had a chain of grocery stores. So just at an early age, I was always just around the business world and I loved it. I think I should have known I was going into sales when my favorite part of the grocery business was the bakery, where I got to sell chocolate chip cookies at this time for 25 cents a cookie. And I tell you, I loved doing it. I loved interacting with the people, and just looking back at how your life, all the curves throughout life. I should have known then, though, sales was in my future.
yeah. So I had a retail background before real estate also. So how did you come to the realization? Because I know at some point you were in Nashville and you had I guess a clothing store
Well,
for a number of
right.
years.
So right after college, I had the opportunity to go to I had family in Sea Island, Georgia. And there's a part of Sea Island, if you know the coast of Georgia, there's a town called St. Simon's Island. And so at 21 years old, I opened a ladies' apparel shop. And it was such a great time of my life. I learned so much about business. And that we had tons of sales, but that was one of my first lessons in life. My dad came to me, he was a big businessman. He had over 50 grocery stores, and he came to me and I said, "Well, how are we doing, Dad? I think I'm just killing it here at Sissy's of St. Simon's." And he says, "Well, you don't have a selling problem, but you do have an inventory problem." So I would over order. And of course, we had sales, which is how at 21 years old, I was judging it based on sales. And, that line had always, really always stuck with me because even, in our world of real estate, we look at, we still got to make money. I see top producers out there, but still their bottom line is not what they want it to be. So that was a lesson early on in life. I got married. About 4 years later and sold my retail business, moved to Baltimore, Maryland. And I think I'm just a worker bee because I had to do something, right? But that led me I started a company called Estate Domestics. And it was staffing luxury clients around the world with butlers and chefs and that sort of thing, which is very much really, I use that background definitely in the luxury real estate world. So I did that for another 4 years and sold that company. And somebody said, "You would be great at real estate." And I was like, well, my kids were small. And I thought, well, you know what? They were really young then. So that was 20 years ago. I started with Keller Williams out of Atlanta, Georgia. And my very first listing was a $3.5 million one. And I tell that story a lot because the main reason I got it was just my excitement and the love of the business and just really, calling everybody I knew with that, "Hey, I've got my real estate license," which I was so green. I had no clue how to do a listing presentation or anything, but that started my journey into real estate. I was rookie of the year and started a luxury business and was in Atlanta then for 2 years doing that. and then in 2007 moved to Nashville, Tennessee.
And it was with Remax in
Well, I was
Nashville.
Keller Williams in when I began, and so I moved up to Nashville. And just to be very honest, I was going through a divorce, and I had two small children, and I, of course, I wanted to give them an amazing life, and we were basically starting over in Nashville, Tennessee. Didn't know anyone actually, so I called Keller Williams and said, what about the corporate side? Because I didn't have my sphere of influence. I didn't know anyone in Nashville. So I will give them credit on more of the training from the brokerage standpoint. And I became team leader and CEO of the Brentwood, Tennessee office. I did that. And then the short sale market hit. And I stepped out of that role and I saw an opportunity, which I am a believer. There's an opportunity in every market. You just have to, follow the opportunities and really know what the market is saying. So what I did with that is I opened a short sale company. I had agents bring me the deals. I would negotiate those and I would buy those properties and then, of course, resell them. And it was a great business for 3 years. I did that. Helped a lot of realtors, helped a lot of homeowners. We had over 100 in the pipeline at all times. And then coming out of the short sale market, that was 2011, I purchased a Remax. And when I did, everybody thought I was crazy. Like, what are you doing? And it was, I will say, the first year of my life was a blur when you buy a brokerage. But I did, it was amazing. We did so much good. I had three offices. When I got it, it was about $220 million of production. And within 7 years, we were doing 900. I tried to get that $1 billion mark, but we came close. We were about 985 million in volume, five offices in Middle Tennessee. So I did that almost for a decade, and then out come this company, eXp Realty,
Well,
and
let's just go back to Remax for a quick moment before we start talking about
sure.
current current events in eXp.
Yeah.
So scaling from 200 and whatever to 900 million, and I don't know how many years that took, but that's still a big X factor there. What would you attribute if there was one single thing that you did that, and why were three Remax offices available like that? Was someone retiring or?
Yeah. Um, you know, it's not that I do think I revitalized those as a company. I mean, we changed it up, and the answer that I give of what you're asking is what I stand on today is driving price point through luxury real estate. Remax in my area at the time was not known as a luxury brand. I was luxury. I have sold luxury and still do for the last 20 years. And I love sitting at the table with sellers. I am a listing agent. I'm a sports and entertainment agent, and it's my passion. So what I did was really get a team of people that believed in the mission. I laugh because that first year I told you was tough. I think I recruited 72 people and 71 people left. So I net for
Wow,
either I
that's a
let
lot of work to get one agent.
so I let them go or they left me. But that was a pivotal year, and I say that for anyone out there
Were
that
they leaving you or were they leaving Remax?
I would say both. I mean, there's some that just didn't like me. There was some that didn't believe, or I was an unknown. I didn't know anybody, and I'd never owned a brokerage before. So there was a lot of, cons against me. But I'm telling you, Jim, I dug in deep, and I said we're going to be here. But it was the best year of my life, although it was my hardest, because when you get the right people together, there's two keys to me of what you just asked. One is you've got to have that culture and the right team around you. no one succeeds without that. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And, I wish the people that weren't with me the very best, but I got the people that did believe and really want to go to the next level and really saw the vision that we had. Well, with that, that creates that culture. Then we dug into price point. Why were we only 200 and, something million? Because we weren't selling enough properties. We didn't have enough transactions. We didn't have a high enough price point. So when we dug in with that and changed the systems, we gradually went from, 250 to, I remember when we hit 450 million, then we hit, 620 million, and we started seeing it. And basically, it was still, I mean, we fluctuated from 150 to, 230 agents, but it was still, obviously, the more agents, the easier it is to get that. But it was still the amount of transactions. We came in really ranked at top 40 in the United States for transactions per agent, which was a huge testimony because we were still in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, the price point when, we look around the world, we did not have at the time. It is much better now, but it's still not on par with a Miami or Texas or, especially California. So that's what I would
Don't forget
really.
Boston.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to hit all my
Northeast
points.
prices are up there.
Yes, they are. Um, so with that, I say that to people that are listening, like when you really dig into your system and think how to raise your price point and dig in, and that's one of the many reasons I'm passionate about luxury real estate. It does help it, and it's not for everyone to sell a 3 million or 5 million, $10 million property. But just raising your price point from 500,000 to 750 or 750 to 1.2 really drives a lot of revenue for the agent.
Okay, so eXp, was there a gap between Remax and
Oh, yes.
eXp?
Yes.
How did you end up, or was there something in between?
No, when I got out of Remax, I did brokerage world for, like I said, almost a decade. I immediately just kept Carrie Zeier luxury properties. And I took a breath for a minute. I did talk to a lot of different companies, and everyone was coming at me for EXP. And I said, no, no, no. So I will be the first to say I was the biggest no on EXP. Part of that was, the myths out there. I thought, again, I had already built one company to try to make it luxury, and I thought it's just not luxury enough for me. I've hung my hat, my personal brand, everything on luxury real estate. So, but I kept talking to people. One of my close friends still today, Mindy Price, stayed at me in a great way. She never pressured me. She just kept showing me what EXP was all about. And I did. I mean, I thought from the realty side of it, it was great. I was just worried about the luxury side. So fast forward, it took about 3 years, Jim, for me to finally open my eyes. And
Only 3 years. That's pretty good.
and I said,
10 years for me.
"Oh, wow."
Yeah.
I know. So 3 years, and I said I'm going to do it. And actually, I'm one that I called them and said, "You know what? I'm ready to go." I had my business plan in my head. So I actually joined 3 months before I was VP of Luxury. And then how I became the VP of Luxury is I was out, and actually, I got to meet with Glenn, and I met with some of the corporate, and we were just talking about the luxury side of it. And I was offered the position to come and run it. And, it's absolutely my passion. I'm so proud of what we're doing and what we're achieving. But of course, it all comes back to the agents and the people that we have got that's really believes in this mission of what we're doing with luxury around the world.
So are you still in production? Do you have a team?
Uh, you know, I,
What's
I,
your day
like,
to day?
no, I wouldn't say I have a team. Do have I listed, or do I, if I get things, I do have somebody else that, list them for me because I can't be front and center. I will put my name on it. We do have some sports athletes and coaches and that sort of things that wants, just from my database. But my primary business, of course, is running eXp Luxury. But I will always keep my real estate license, that's for sure.
So eXp Luxury has grown. It's not in every country that eXp is in. How do you decide which countries to open up, and what do you see the growth potential
That's a
for
great,
the
that's a great
eXp luxury in the future?
We are working on that. And actually, we are a team that is specific on the international side. Of course, Felix has done a great job with running international. So really, it's a between Felix and Wendy Forsyth, Charles, who is the CEO of Lux VT, and myself. Um, we're very strategic on which countries are ready. We are rolling out in January, more of a referral program for all countries to be part of eXp Luxury because it helps us all. But for the countries to have a full-blown luxury program like we have in the US, those are based on certain criteria that we've all agreed on the corporate level. Now, with that, we're really doing a relaunch for Canada. Canada is amazing, and Nadia has done a fabulous job there. So a lot of that will be coming out in Vancouver, eXpCon. But Canada is going, it has its own program. But the one thing we are going to be doing differently is, United States is its own thing, and we're going to have Canada as their own because, we're two separate countries. Although we coincide a lot of how we do it, it's still different nuances. So I'm excited about really getting back with these countries and making a difference, how they do it, and really have that strong referral network as well.
Okay, so you mentioned Lux VT. So Lux VT is, I'd say, one of the tools, one of the assets for eXp Luxury. Name some of the other, I guess, benefits
Yeah.
of the program.
So I'll back up a little bit. Before I got to be the VP of eXp Luxury, eXp went out and got Lux VT, and they white labeled them as eXp Luxury. So, but when I got here, I was under the old umbrella as we did not own Lux VT. So for my first 6 months, they were negotiating that deal. So 6 months into me being that, eXp Realty purchased Lux VT, and Charles Bornheimer became the CEO of Lux VT under eXp Realty. So I work hand in hand with him daily. Um, with that, it is an amazing program. They had been many, many years servicing agents of all different companies. But now, of course, that is what eXp. So the platform that we have is amazing, it is proven. And I tell you, as all the times that I had worried about, my marketing plan, whether it was how to beat out these other agents, because where was I going to put the listing? Was I putting in Mansion Global, Rob Report, all these things, Wall Street Journal, that it gets very expensive. So one of the things that we do hang our hat on is a way for our agents in luxury to be able to go out and win those listings and have a platform to put them in. So the engine of that is the Lux VT part of it. So that was a little bit of background. And of course, with that, we have expanded tremendously with our different divisions and really what we have done with inside eXp Luxury.
Yeah, so when EXP bought Lux VT, I thought, wow, game changer. This is huge news. Then I guess there was a day that a whole group, and you were probably there, and it was at NASDAQ ringing the bell.
I was
Uh,
not there, but
okay,
it was a great day.
and I thought it was very exciting and all that. Leo and Glenn were there, and they had the opportunity to say anything they wanted to say. I don't think they said much of anything, but if it were me, I would have said, "Hey, here's what we're doing, blah, 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 blah." And I would have mentioned Lux VT because I thought that was like, wow, this is a perfect opportunity. Lux VT, if I'm with, let's say, Remax, for example, I can still use Lux VT, correct? Or is it just EXP now?
That I am not on that side of it, so I cannot speak specifically on. I mean, my side is all EXP and being the executive for it.
Okay, so strike that question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yes, sorry.
Let's talk about sports and entertainment. You said you were sort of a sports and entertainment agent, even in Nashville.
Yes.
How would you define being a sports and entertainment agent? And what does this new division, or was it even necessary to have a new division when you already had eXp Luxury? Is it getting just too niche?
Yeah, it is definitely a niche, one that I'm very passionate about. Mine, I fell into it, to be honest. You know, my ex-husband was a professional athlete. So when I started the business in Atlanta, my natural sphere of influence was, the athletes. Never did I think like this is a niche that I'm going to start shouting. I just didn't see it that way. That was the people I knew. So I fell into that. But I did see a trend when it comes to sports and entertainment, people of, how to service them. And I mentioned briefly with my career of estate domestics that I had, that confidentiality. It was a lot of my clients. I have not been able to post on social media, which back then I didn't even have social media, but it was still, I learned a lot about the business from that aspect. Fast forward when I moved to Nashville and opened my Remax, one of the things I did was become the sports and preferred realtor for the Nashville Predators. So I was the exclusive realtor for the Nashville Predators, and I let our company participate in that. Although I was the force of it and really the brand of it. So I did that for 6 years and serviced the hockey players, the coaches, and that. And with that, of course, other athletes and entertainers. So again, I didn't think of sports and entertainment, but I did call myself a sports and entertainment realtor because that's what I service. So fast forward, you ask, why would we have our own division at eXp? Lots of reasons. One, it was a big request. There are other competition from other brokerages as well that has their own sports and entertainment division. And there's just, you think of the world of luxury, um, it is a niche, but definitely sports and entertainment is within that. Because to me, to service a that kind of clientele, that high profile, you already have to have that luxury expertise. That white glove service is what we teach in, of course, on the luxury side. So it has been very well received. We've only been really it kicked off at eXpCon, so we've had a full month of November. We're already at 150 plus people. It's one of those, and this is just opened in the U.S. right now. We've not opened it in Canada. We haven't opened it around the world yet, which we will. It'll be a huge global referral network. We've got a huge community going and culture. So I see this really going to be, I think, a shining light upon eXp Luxury with the excitement and the feedback that we're receiving now.
So if there's one trait that would differentiate your typical, if it relates to EXP lux, not EXP lux, but a luxury agent versus a sports and entertainment agent, what would you say that trait would be?
Yeah, so luxury is all about, I mean, luxury is everything that really falls into that higher clientele. But I've always said luxury is not just a price point, it's all about service. Do we attract that higher price point through that? Absolutely. sports and entertainment is definitely the niche of that world. The marketing's different, the branding's completely different. And it's more of how to break into that. One of the things we're saying is, it's Pee-wee to pro. Uh, did I make a lot of money on the Nashville Predators? Absolutely. But really, where the bread and butter was the external, like, the little leagues, the hockey league, because I sponsored those as well. So, I mean, just getting in with those parents and the hockey families, and then they saw, well, if she's, doing this at the pro level, of course, I got all their business as well. So it's not just to get a pro account. It's just to those people that do love sports or they do love entertainment and they're looking to expand their world of luxury. How do they do that? So that's, we actually have a sports and entertainment meeting today, a mastermind with our members that really are going behind the scenes. And, if you look at where football is with the NILs, but it's just a love of all the sports, to be honest. And what I have
So
always
explain to the audience what NIL is.
is when they have in football, it is the naming rights. They now get paid in college football for their brand, basically. And so and I know when
So it's the sale of T-shirts and jerseys
they
and
can make money on that legally now.
sneakers.
Right. And back in my day, Jim, the athletes could not benefit on their name and likeness when they were in college. And now they can. So there's a
So
huge
N is name, I is image,
image.
L likeness. Yes.
Correct. So yeah, so that's a big topic at our meetings. Of course, or how to get into it. And a lot of it is
How to
education.
start selling teenagers $1 million houses, I guess.
Well, it's really getting behind. You think the families, it's the education side of it. I look at it as the more we can give. Like we have a financial advisor coming on today that deals with those athletes. How does he talk to them? How does he get those? So it's just another world, another opportunity to expand something. And if you look at niches. I always said when I coach this, and it's one of my favorite topics, is in the world of real estate, my very, very best agents have multiple niches. The longer we're in the business, but when you choose those that really you enjoy, it goes, it explodes. It's better. Like if you enjoy golfing, if you enjoy playing tennis, if you enjoy those things, that's where you're out getting the business. Those are your sphere of influence. So this is just another way to brand it and really go into a market that's very exciting.
But Carrie, do you think luxury real estate, the actual business, is changing in any way?
I think it's always changing. Yes. I mean, our market has changed. We went through a major change after COVID. And then if you look at it, we came out of it. 2021 was gangbuster. It was, um, most people's businesses went straight up. But since 2021, it has been a direct decline. So no matter how successful anyone is, they're pretty much down 30 to 50% based on their former numbers. So has it changed? Yes. Then we've had a lot of the battle with everything from NAR to Zillow to, all of the, should you have exclusives? Should they be not? I mean, there's just been a lot of changes in there. To me, there will continue to be. And then we have technology, we have AI, and there's the world of real estate is changing, but what I do know is that real estate will always, to me, be. I mean, we have to have a place to live. It is the American dream, and I'm speaking on the U.S. side right now. And I've always stood on that. And those agents that are really diving in and taking hold of the changes that are coming with all of these different areas are the ones that will succeed.
In what way do you think eXp is gaining market share in luxury, if you do think it is?
I think, the brand of EXP to me is amazing. And I say that not because I'm here. I was one of the ones that fought it for so many years. I look back and I had a traditional brokerage. I had all the bricks and mortar. And I got up today, not even knowing the questions you were asking me, but just one of the things I was thinking, I had calls over the weekend of, people looking at franchises, people calling about franchises. Look, and I'm thinking, honestly, because I was one of those, that is so much money you're pumping in with very small margins in the world when it comes to real estate. And make no mistake, I love a brokerage. I love working with agents. I love leading agents. But in eXp, everyone's a winner. And when I say that is when I owned my brokerage, I was at the top of it. Every agent, all 200 plus agents paid, I got a piece of that. And so, but they still had to work every day. Now, they may have been great listing agents and all that, but they still paid me. At eXp, everyone has a chance to be the entrepreneur that you want, whether it is, I'm going to say that brokerage mindset to lead other agents, or just to have a successful business with so many tools that if you were in business on your own, you could never have all the tools that eXp gives you. So I mean, I'm very passionate about that side of it. Now, when you open up luxury, we are an annual membership, and basically some people look at that price, that annual membership of $2,500. But as a listing agent, I spent more than $2,500 marketing one listing. I wish I had the tools that I have now. I sat and stressed on those across the table from the seller when they said, well, am I going to be in this magazine and this magazine and this Yes, I had to say yes, or I wasn't going to get the listing. How was I going to compete with the top agents in town that were doing that? But now I have helped agents win these listings and beat the top agents in their town through a Zoom meeting, just offering what we have at eXp Luxury. So yes, I'm very
Well,
passionate.
let's talk about that for a second because you brought up the word magazine. And I mean, my background, I've been publishing my own Castles magazine, which is international luxury from the days of when we actually printed it. Now, when you say magazine, are we talking digital, online magazines? Are we talking,
What,
go to the
right.
newsstand or get a,
Well,
quarterly paper
yeah,
magazine
for us,
printed?
I'm talking in my Nashville market, there were luxury magazines that certain, were the place to be at, that they wanted you. But these ads, I mean, to take out were, anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 that you would pay depending on what size. So that's specifically what I was talking about for that. They would ask them for digital magazines, which, we can do those through Mansion Global or those sort of things as a being out there with it. But there's all sorts. I think that's very what your market calls for, and you've done an incredible job, Jim. I mean, with your name of it and really how you put it out there. But I was just comparing it to like
Yeah,
some.
the Patent and Trademark Office kind of messed up on that. They allowed me to trademark the word castles. Go
Yes,
go
well, it's a
figure.
great name.
Go figure. So if you were starting over today with zero reputation, no network, no listings, what would be your first 90-day plan to break into the luxury market?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, um, Two ways I've always um, to answer your question. In Georgia, I had a sphere of influence. In Nashville, I built it. It was much stronger to build it and go through the networking. And my secret to success of that is still what I would do today if I started over is I met 3 people a day, 5 days a week. And I was only going to do that for a year, but I ended up doing it for multi years. And it absolutely changed my life. It changed where I was
Who
because
who are those people that you were meeting? That's 15 people a week.
Yeah,
I'm going to do the math quickly. That's like 750 people a
a lot
year.
of people. Well, first, to be quite honest, anybody that would meet with me. So
Okay.
it's not all just agents. It was title, it was attorneys, it was businessmen, it was businesswomen, it was people that, CEOs of companies. But sometimes it was just the worker bees out there. Because when you go, and it was not to ask them business, it was, I'm new to Nashville, I'm a realtor. And I just wanted to, I admire what you do and how could we work together? And those people, they may not have had a prospect for me then, but they did later. And then they see your success and they see you out there hustling. So the number one thing I would do is back to the basics of that. It absolutely works. And of course, everything too is in the follow up. I followed up greatly. I stayed in touch with them. On
It's
LinkedIn.
all in the follow-up. That's the most difficult. I
Yeah,
mean, do the math. Now you got 15 people that you got to stay in touch with from the first week,
right.
and it's
Yeah,
every week.
yes. But,
At a certain point, you can't keep it up. It's not sustainable.
well, you can if you have a CRM and stuff and have it set up, that meaning little things. And then I would be connected with these people on social media. So when you see them, of course, you do something. I mean, it's a like, it's a comment. But truly, though, that did change my life. That was number one. Number two is to have, so out of all those people, like you said, how many of them would actually have me a lead or something that year? Let's just say, for a good number, 25 people that became my VIPs, that they really supported, bought in. Of course, then those people I did something very, very special with. We would go out, we would do different things, we would have events together. And then on top of that, I know I have so many that I love to do, but the other is I did a monthly networking, thing. Mine was Wind Down Wednesday. I did that for 10 years. Every month. I never missed a month. And it was once a it was a Wednesday of every month. And the great thing about that is I never paid for it. I had all these contacts, all these vendors, and to help me pay for that, which of course then built that community and built that trust. So to me, those are three winning ways to break into
And
a market.
where did you hold your wind down Wednesday?
Oh, that's
Was it
great. One of the things we did, well, you teed it up great. I know you didn't even know. One of the fun parts is that once a month on a Wednesday, it was a new place. So we would go to, if something new opened up in Nashville, or we would go all around Nashville. So you think 12 times a year, people got to go to a new venue that many of them had not been. And then, of course, we got to brag on the place we were at, which helped that. We had, outside vendors there, which of course was great. And then we had realtors, and it was any realtor that wanted to come could come. It wasn't just within my Remax world.
okay? So what's next for eXp Luxury? What are you building behind the scenes that the agents aren't fully aware of yet?
Oh, I love that. Instead of adding all the new, we are digging deep and making sure, what we have is truly a well-oiled machine. I think that's important before we start, but one of the other things that we're doing that I'm excited about is really, having a different, really with us at eXp Luxury, if you want to join, you go through a certification unless you already qualify for and you're in. One of the things I'm excited about, though, is that starting in 2026, we will have a level that is really rewards those for that are, like say our top 100 people that are truly at that onyx level is what we're calling it. And then we have then another level of that really just meet their overall requirements year after year that get into that. And it's no extra fee. It's more of a recognition of what they're selling and what they're achieving. So, and again, just really going back into our education as we expand throughout the world and really get all these countries with the referrals, with the things, and it all working in a cohesive way.
Okay. When working with athletes and entertainers who often have short career cycles and fast relocations, what do top agents need to understand to truly serve them well?
Um, so your question is how to serve these athletes in this there's so many, and those are some of the things we talk about. Just from experience, I did roll out the red carpet, the white glove service, and a lot of that was little things as they're moving, they're stressed, a lot of them, they've got their families or their kids were in school. I mean, there's just a lot going on in these athletes' lives that as from the world, we just see, oh, they've got a big contract and they're moving cities. But to them, they've got families they're uprooting and some of them don't want to leave. They were happy within the city they were in. So from day one, what I would do is pick them up at the airport, really give them a peace of mind and show them the area on personal tours. Like, it's just going above and beyond. To me, that meant the world to them.
So you're
Um,
like the ambassador for the city that they're
yes,
moving to.
yes. And then, and the secret things of, and the concierge. I mean, they want to know everything. Like that's what you're there for, and it's not just here's your house. It's here's the nail salon. Here's who you can get.
Here's the dog park,
Yes, yes.
and
And
here's the dog
these
walker.
are my three favorite restaurants. They're going to take great care of you. So, I mean, it's they need a life in that city in 24 hours. And so the agents that are doing that are winning in that business.
What's a belief that you held early in your career that you've completely changed your mind about? Not just the EXP part of it.
Mm,
That's easy because we all said no.
yeah. Uh, a belief that I held on to. You know, I have always, first of all, believe in yourself. And I guess, I even think back, people are like, you're so confident and you're so, it was a will to win, but to never start. Every one of us has the potential to be the number one in their market. And honestly, it's doing the basics will make you the most successful out there. Doing those things that I just had talked about, meeting with three people. So I guess is, you know, always knowing that you can do it because that's where I dug deep and I put all those beliefs of, well, I haven't done it as long as this person, or I'm new to the city. One of the things Brian Buffini back in 2005, he was one of my coaches, and he said, "Think like an immigrant," and and I loved that because when I was in my Atlanta world, I did worry about what my friends thought. I was at University of Georgia, I married the quarterback, and we had our life in Atlanta. And, I did worry about what everybody thought. And then I got to Nashville, Tennessee. I had my two boys to raise, and I didn't care what anybody thought. And I was like, no. So one of those things is believe in yourself. I've always said think like an immigrant. That was the one thing I truly, truly did because I put blinders onto the world and I dug in and I went for it. And went for it meant to work. I mean, to go in, to prospect, to brand myself, and to, really break into the world of luxury real estate in Nashville, Tennessee, which I believe anyone can do when they follow this playbook.
Any question I didn't ask that I should have asked?
You probably are like, what is this lady? I just appreciate your time, and I know that you have a big heart for what we do as well. Just for me, I'm just excited about the future and whether someone's EXP or not. I am for the industry. I'm for, we all think differently. We all have different walks and we're all in different places. And, you know, like you said, Jim, it took you 10 years, took me three. We're not but we're still in this business. And as long as we, to me, band together as an industry and serve with ethics and, honor and really help fulfill the American dream, that's how real estate will succeed, especially when we talk about throughout the United States. So, I just appreciate your time today. And you need to come on my show. I'm going to turn this around and we're going to interview you.
That'd be awesome.
I would love
So,
it.
Carrie Zeier, Vice President. Is there a president of luxury growth that I'm not familiar
There's
with?
not, I get asked that all the time.
So you should be, I'm gonna just say it then. Then you're the president of luxury growth at eXp Realty, and also, I guess, the president of the sports and entertainment division as well, right?
Well, I have to say I'm VP, but I lead them. I do lead both of them, and I'm very, very honored to do that. We have some amazing people, of course, behind the scenes that have helped us. We have an advisory group. Of course, Wendy Forsythe has been really champion this and behind the sports and entertainment. So we've just got, and of course, Charles, we've got so many with our team. But of course, it all comes down to the agents. And, as I say over and over, community and culture, people ask, how do you create that culture? And that, to me, that's the magic. And it comes with the people, it comes with the vision of what we all want to achieve.
So you mentioned the advisory group. I can't not mention the fact that Janie Coffee is my sponsor. So it's
That
all one big family, right?
Yes, it is absolutely. And Janie's a part of the luxury council, not on the sports and entertainment side, but we all support each other. You ask about the other, so there's EXP Luxury, there's under luxury, there's sports and entertainment. Under the Lux VT umbrella, there's land and ranch. Talks of new development coming. So lots of different divisions that people are passionate about and really
You should think about bundling the pricing. I'll just
that's
throw it out
coming
there.
soon, James,
Just
coming
throw it out
soon.
there.
That may
I
be a
pay more
holiday
than my team
special.
members. Maybe the team leaders get a break by bringing a certain number of team members onto
Yes.
uh, onto eXp Luxury.
We do have, maybe stay tuned, a holiday special for those that are looking at joining the different divisions because they really are incredible niches, all of them.
I would love to see that.
Yay. I
Okay,
love
again, Carrie Zeier, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on the Exponential Files, and we'll be back next week with another great guest. Thank you. Happy
Thank you.
holidays. I'm Jim Lowenstern. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.